Hello, mind friends. I'm going to say two statements I'm going to make that are kind of controversial. I have no doubt somebody's going to get offended, and that's okay because there's going to be other people that you're going to have a massive breakthrough on something. I don't know what, and that's who I'm doing this for, the latter. So here's the two statements. Poor people traditionally vote Democrat. They're still poor. In fact, they're more poor than they've ever been in the history of this country. The middle class typically votes Republican. The middle class is shrinking and joining the poor at a faster rate than ever before in our history. It's like the biggest exodus on planet Earth that's ever existed. These are general statements, not blanket statements. Just so you know, there's always exceptions, and we love the exceptions, don't we? Especially the ones that cross over from poor to wealthy of all kinds, right? Now, here's something about, we'll just call them the 2% versus the 98%. The ones that are truly rich, and I know that they're truly rich because they don't measure their wealth by their money, they measure it by their time, their free time, not living underneath somebody else who can tell them what to do like a boss, not selling their life, their time, their mind, their body, their spirit for a paycheck. They have no neediness to work for money to pay their bills and nourish their family. These are the wealthiest people. They've got their time. They don't measure it by their money, they measure it by their time. Creating experiences with people they love and care about instead of worrying about how bills are going to be paid. Totally detached from money. That's true wealth. Kind of ironic, isn't it? True wealth is to be totally detached from money so that you've got your time. You no longer have to sell your life away. Time you can never get back. Hope that makes a lot of sense. So, those two first statements that I made, that's going to tick some people off, but some people need to be ticked off, and that's just the way it is. Other people want to be challenged and grow, so I think that's going to appeal to you. So let me turn this whole thing around. The reason why the truly rich are truly rich, they've got their time, and that's how they measure their wealth, is because they could give a shit if it's a Democrat or a Republican or whoever. They don't care. They could really care less. Now they might still vote, but you know what? A vote is gonna, it's gonna be for whatever reasons they want. But as far as their happiness and their wealth, which is truly their time, that's up to themselves. They totally take personal responsibility for that, which means there's no wiggle room on excuses, blame game, just telling it how it is, keeping it how it is. They take full personal responsibility for their happiness and their health. They don't care who's going to be president. They don't care what the value of the dollar is doing. They don't care about unfair trade agreements with other countries that take jobs. They don't care. They don't freaking care. And what do we'll call them the 98% do? They are absolutely like emotionally tied to who the president is going to be. They're emotionally tied to the dollar. They're emotionally tied to the decisions that their boss makes if their job is going to be impacted, which could impact their paycheck that they sell their life away for. And this is not to put anybody down, so don't take it that way if you're in that 98%. Please don't take it that way. When I was in the 98% and I crossed over to the 2%, I played the blame game, the excuses. I thought if we had better politics in our country, if my boss were more generous and not such a jerk, I did have a jerk of a boss, um, all these kinds of things. It was everything except myself. But when I had a breakthrough. I had a total breakthrough. I started to take personal responsibility. I just changed my mind. Me and other people who are truly free, truly rich and wealthy because we measure our wealth by our time, not our money. We did it because we started making different decisions. You've changed your mind in the past, so you've proven you can change your mind. You've learned new skills in the past. You've proven you can learn new skills. Between those two things, you can draw a line in the sand at any moment and decide you're going to make different decisions. Even if you don't know what to do yet, you could simply decide that you're going to start a search for some answers, right? And then you know what to do, even if it's just, okay, I got to be on a search for answers. Because then at least you're opening your mind to a rich and creative brain who's thinking and looking for answers and developing into a more free thinking human being. And once in a while, you're going to find some great answers. Once in a while, you're going to have a massive breakthrough instead of just another change, because change could be bad, but breakthroughs are always like more than good. That is all that we did in the 2%. We just started making different decisions, and poof, process of some time, some longer than others. But that's all that it is. I really hope you got the message of this video. And the bigger message, it's beyond politics, like voting for Democrat or Republican or this or that. It doesn't even matter. The bigger picture is that you no longer, here's the decision that you make, you decide to no longer hold anything outside of the power of your amazing brain responsible for your happiness or your success. Period. And then you can come to a place where you can totally detach yourself from money. You can reach that state of irony. Like the only way you can really detach yourself from money is if you no longer have to sell your time for it. So you don't have to think about it anymore, and you can spend your time, your energy, your focus on whatever is most important to you. And you get to decide what that is. You develop your own vision, your own dream, and you get to make that happen, but you have to figure it out, and then you make it happen. And the shortcut to making it happen as you figure it out, mainstream school of thought, 98% says there's no shortcuts. Bullshit. The biggest shortcut that exists is intellectual acuity. You find somebody who's been there, done that, smarter than you in a particular thing you want to be smarter in, willing to teach you, and then you be the best student that the world ever saw. And you learn from somebody who's been there, done that, gonna blaze a bright trail for you. That's the best. I dedicate myself to being the best student that I can to all kinds of people much smarter than me, who has more of what I want. And then I am like opinions and suggestions, ego at the door, has no place in that scenario, and I just learn. And when I learn, I implement fast. In fact, I make it a game with myself. Whenever I learn something that I know could possibly make a difference, I will find at least one thing I can do today without procrastinating, and then other things I'll do the day after and the day after, but at least one thing just to get me in the motion of actually doing. Because one of the most common things that exists is an educated derelict. You could make a decision to learn new skills, but then you never put them to use. And there's a lot of really smart people that don't put them to use. Another average school of thought says that knowledge is power. That's bullshit. Knowledge is the potential of power. Action is power. But action could go either way. So you got to get the knowledge so that you learn what you're doing. And then you go out there and you do it. And you make as many mistakes as you can, as quickly as you can, because no matter how much you learn, your best school is going to be from having done it, experience, because then you can start to craft your skills. You learn the skills from the books, the teachers, the classes, whatever, the webinars, seminars, but then you take that skill and apply it in the real world, and then you begin crafting that skill, and then you begin mastery, and then you get the results through that process. It's amazing. And when you get started, just be willing and eager to make those mistakes, because all the mistakes are feedback. And when something goes right, that's feedback. You scale up on the things that go right, on the positive, and the things that don't work, you learn from them. You maybe learn what not to do, or maybe you learn what to tweak so that you'll get better results next time you go out and try, which is hopefully going to be like the same day, if not the day after. Hope that made sense. So I started with this with, two pretty potent statements. That's, that stuff like that, people that like to be offended will absolutely be offended. And when somebody takes offense, they're basically telling the whole world that they have no control over their own emotions, so everybody else must have control over them for them. It's so stupid. But I have a history of taking offense too. But, that was a very stupid brain that I had. Very small thinking. Does nothing to resolve the underlying thing that causes the unhappiness when you take offense. And you make it all about yourself, as I did when I used to take it. I never will take offense ever again to anything anybody ever says. So hopefully you did not take offense to those statements I made in the beginning. And even if somebody says something to you on purpose to wrong you or has some ill will, still don't take offense. I mean, really, that's just so spiritually and emotionally immature. Man, I really went off on some tangents on this video, but they're all tied together. All of these things are like holistically tied together with your mind. And mindset training is something I do every single day, because I'm human just like anybody else. And if I don't do mindset training every day, then excuses and blame and negativity and my environment and other people, it will beat me down and beat me into submission to start thinking like the 98% again. And if that were to happen, then I'm sure I would shrink back down in size to just being poor. And poor not in terms of money, but in terms of how I spend. That's not even right to say that. What do I mean? In terms of how I spend my time. Yeah, that's right, because I'd have to start selling my time again. All right, everyone, if you got value from this, I got a website, fireyourboss.xyz. not .com, .xyz. So go there, check it out. If you like this video, I got thousands of pieces of content. You probably like quite a lot of it. And I work for free, don't have a job, don't want a job. I retired from that racket. So my content is free. Just pull from it whatever that can help you. And also share this. If you know somebody who might like it and you feel this is worthy to share, share it. Because in the end, this really is about somebody taking personal responsibility for their happiness and their success, and then going out and getting the tools so that they can figure it out, so that they can have what they want, build their dreams, have more to give more, be a philanthropist, because I love that, and that's good for the entire planet. So if you think all this stuff is worthy, then please share it. Till the next video, bye for now.